Well, my dear students, welcome back. We continue with our lesson. We had discussed the saliva. We have gastric juice. Now let's go to pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice and bile. The pancreatic juice is normally synthesized and released by the pancreas, whereas the bile is synthesized by the liver and stored in the gallbladder, from where this is poured in the duodenum. Well, we have seen that there are two hormones that's secreted by the intestinal mucosa. That is secretin and cholecytokinin or pancreomycin. And we have said that after these hormones have been released, they are directed to the stomach, they are directed to the pancreas, and to the gallbladder. We have seen that in the stomach, secretin inhibits the release of gastric juice, whereas cholecytokinin inhibits peristaltic movement of the stomach, and therefore it inhibits the rate at which the chyme is released from the stomach into the duodenum. That is stomach emptying. Now, what is the role of these hormones in the release of the pancreatic juice as well as bile? The hormone secretin, this stimulates the release of bicarbonate salts. It stimulates the release of bicarbonate salts or bicarbonate ions into the pancreatic and bile juices. Now, the presence of these will make these juices more alkaline. But cholecytokinin pancreozymin or cholecytokinin or pancreozymin, this stimulates the synthesis of digestive enzymes, stimulates the synthesis of digestive enzymes by the pancreas. But also, it causes contraction of the gallbladder so as to release bile. Now, the secretion of the pancreatic juice and the bile is also stimulated by the vagus nerves. Apart from these two hormones, secretin and cholecytokinin or pancreozymin, the release of these digestive juices into the duodenum is also stimulated by the vagus nerves. My dear students, we have seen various aspects as far as nutrition is concerned. You can remember autotrophic nutrition, how the plants make their own food, how photosynthesis occurs, the mechanism by which the two phases of photosynthesis are taking place. The light-dependent phase and light-independent phase. The concepts of a cyclic and an uncyclic photophosphorylation, and the photophosphorylation itself as a whole. But also how the C3 plants fix carbon dioxide. I mean the Calvin cycle. And how the C4 plants fix carbon dioxide. I mean the Hertzsprung pathway. But also you can remember the various factors that affect the rate at which photosynthesis is taking place before switching on to the autotrophic nutrition, the forms, heterotrophic nutrition, and the forms of heterotrophic nutrition, saprophytic, symbiotic, holozoic, the classification of animals that feed holozoically, the carnivores, herbivores, and the omnivores. But also the structure of the epithelial tissue in relation to digestion. How are these tissues adapted to carry out their respective roles? Well, coming to the process of digestion along the mammalian alimentary canal. How is digestion effected in the buccal cavity? How is digestion effected in the stomach, in the duodenum, in the ileum? What is the fate of the end products of digestion? How are the undigested waste materials egested? And now the hormonal control of digestive juices secretion, as well as the nervous control. Now, let us pass it together through the following questions. Question 1, this will be for you, that you give a detailed explanation of how hormones and the nerves are involved in the control and the release of the digestive juices. Of course, the response to this question is related to what we have just seen. The second question, part A, explain why the food is alkaline in the buccal cavity or mouth, acidic in the stomach, and then again alkaline in the intestines. If you can remember, we said, and we are saying, that the digestive juice in the buccal cavity is saliva. The constituents of the saliva, apart from water or together with the water, we saw that the saliva contains mucin, it contains salivary amylase, but there are also electrolytes such as sodium ions and chloride ions. These make the saliva slightly alkaline. This is explaining why the food is alkaline in the buccal cavity. From the buccal cavity, swallowing pushes, transports the food into the stomach. The stomach contains gastric juice. And the major component of the gastric juice is hydrochloric acid secreted by the oxycentric cells. And because of the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, this will explain why the food is acidic in the stomach. From the stomach, the chyme is pushed into the intestines, where we have just seen that the hormone secretin will cause or will stimulate the release of bicarbonate ions into the pancreatic and the bile juices, thereby making these two juices alkaline. And because of the presence of these ions, the content of the intestines will be alkaline, and this will explain why this food is alkaline in the intestines. Part B of our question, that you have a meal. That meal comprises of ugali and roasted beef. Now you are told to explain the cause or the changes that are taking place when this meal is passing along the human alimentary canal. Of course, both substances, after being introduced into the buccal cavity, they will be subjected to mechanical digestion. They will be subjected to mechanical digestion. This is by the action of teeth. They will be ground into smaller particles. They will be mixed with the saliva. And this ugali contains starch. So, in the buccal cavity, salivary amylase will act on this starch into maltose. Then the food will be rolled, because, by the action of the tongue, into a ball-like bolus, which will be pushed down in the stomach through the esophagus under the force called peristalsis. Now, in the stomach, the gastric glands will be stimulated to release gastric juice. And this gastric juice, the gastric juice contains protein digesting enzymes, pepsinogen, but also it contains prorenin, hydrochloric acid. And this hydrochloric acid will activate pepsinogen into active pepsin, which will in turn now act on a protein present in the beef into polypeptides and simple peptides. But in the process also, prorenin will be activated by hydrochloric acid into renin, although as far as this meal is concerned, renin has got no role to perform. In the stomach, there is also mechanical digestion due to churning action of the stomach walls. In this case, mechanical digestion and chemical digestion will again pound the food into a creamy paste. This is called chyme. And this chyme will be passed into the duodenum through the pyloric sphincter. In the duodenum, there are two sources of digestive juices: the pancreas, which will release pancreatic juice, and the gallbladder, which will release bile. The bile contains bile salts and mineral salts. The bile salts, that is potassium and the sodium glycochlorate and the taurochlorates, will act on fat and the oil present in the roasted meat. These bile salts will emulsify these fats, breaking them, large fatty molecules, into tiny ones for easy attack by the fat digesting enzyme. On the contrary, on the other hand, the pancreatic juice contains pancreatic amylase, which will again continue the hydrolysis of starch in ugali into maltose. It contains also pancreatic lipase, which will act on fats or lipids into fatty acids and glycerol. Now, from the duodenum, this will be passed into the ileum. The ileum contains a digestive juice called intestinal juice or succus entericus, and this contains amylase, which will complete the digestion of starch into maltose. There are proteases, that is chymotrypsin and the chymotrypsinogen, whose activation is effected by enterokinase enzyme, and these will complete the digestion of proteins. But also, there are carbohydrates, and these carbohydrates include maltase, which completes the digestion of maltose into glucose. There is sucrase, which completes the digestion of sucrose into glucose and fructose, and lactase, which hydrolyzes lactose into glucose and galactose. Well, my dear student, having seen these questions, go read more, and again I'm giving the reference that you either read a biological science by Taylor, biological science, but you also don't forget to peruse the book Biology, Form 5, a student book currently issued by the Tanzania Institute of Education. In case of any query again, in case of a misunderstood portion, in case of any question, please send your question, your query, by either a normal short message, an SMS, or a WhatsApp message, or you may record your voice note and send it to us, or record your video asking a question, posing your query, and then send it to us through 0769 04 85 94. Again, 0769 04 85 94, and we will respond to your questions. We will respond to your queries as immediate as possible. Now, we have come to an end of our session for today, and therefore we have come to an end of our nutrition topic for today. Let's prepare to meet in our next session when we will start a new topic. Again, my name is Fortunatus Kiobia. Bye-bye.